Saturday morning, having coffee. Want to welcome anybody that showed up for the live today. We're going to kind of jump right into it. I'll probably repeat myself a couple times as people come into the room, so I appreciate that. Couple things before we get started. Please like and share the live if you would. If you go to your phone, the three dots at the top of your phone, you click on that, you can like and share the live, and also you can see the description if there's some kind of product or anything that you want to take a look at. Hey, Will, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the live. I'm going to do a pretty simple, maintenance type live today. Anyway, so I'm going to start talking. I'll probably repeat myself a couple times as people come into the room. So today, seems like night. I did a really late night live last night till like 2 a.m. on another platform. I want to show you guys some oil care. I'm going to do an oil demonstration. We're going to talk about transmission fluid and why it needs to be changed in transmission care. How to properly wash your vehicle and how to do paint care to keep your paint in good condition. I see a lot of people washing cars that don't really understand how to wash a car correctly. Got a couple projects. We do have at the bottom of the link, at the bottom of your phone, there's a thank you tab. What the thank you tab does, it buys me a cup of coffee. So for less than a cup of Starbucks, you get to listen to a mechanic of 40 years give you his opinion on car maintenance. So we're going to call this Keep It Simple Sally Saturdays, where we just talk about really basic principles about about automotive care. Probably be about 30 to 45 minutes. Will, I did, you know what? I'll check it as soon as I think I did. I don't remember if I checked it. I was so tired last night when I ended. I did another live on another platform till about 2:30 this morning. So, but you know what? If I did get your email, I will respond to it and tell you, hey, I got your email. As soon as I check it, I'll check it right as I get off here. For those just coming into the room, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Who am I? I'm Go Big. I offer free automotive advice from a mechanic of 40 years. Today, we're going to do an oil demonstration to show you why it's so important to be changing your oil. We're going to go over transmission services and why it's important. And so we'll get going here. Why do we change our oil every 5,000 miles? Oil, this is what used oil looks like. Take a look at it. Let's see, zoom this in. I got this way, I can zoom in now. It's hard to see because my shirt is black. Let's see if we can see it better if I do this. So you can see how black and nasty that oil is. I'll put a white background next time I do this. I didn't think of that. Anyway, you can see how dirty and nasty the oil is. Why does it get like that? Well, in your automobile, there's pistons that go up and down. They're made of metal, and they're going up and down inside a metal cylinder. So you have metal on metal. And that's the purpose of the oil, is to lubricate and to cool the engine. It takes the temperature out of the engine. It lubricates the pistons. The most important thing is the piston being lubricated, but it also lubricates all the bearings that are inside your engine. There's a whole oil circuit that moves oil all through the engine to all the places it needs to be. And what happens over time, oil gets gritty. After you run it a while, it'll get dirty and gritty feeling. And then what happens is that dirt, when it's going up and down on that metal surface, it creates little micro scratches. And over time, it wears out the motor. It wears out the pistons. It wears out the rings. So that's why it's important. So I want you to see the difference. This is used oil. That's what it looks like when it comes out, when you have it changed. And I'm going to show you how it should look. So you see the difference. This is motorcycle oil, but it's the same concept. If you're not subscribed here, please subscribe. Saturday mornings, we start doing this every Saturday morning. I'm going to be on here just teaching you basic automotive. This is what fresh oil should look like. It should look like the color of honey. Do you see that? Let me see if you guys, let me zoom this in so you can see this. So if you look at it, I'm trying not to spill this on my laptop, I'll be in trouble. So if you look at it, it's like the color of honey. That's the way oil should look. And that's the way it looks in when it goes in new. But over time, what happens is it breaks down and it gets dirty. And when it gets dirty, now you're basically taking sandpaper and rubbing it back and forth on your engine that can cost you $15,000. So I tell people, what's the cheapest thing you can do to your car to maintain it? Keep the oil changed. If you do nothing else to your car, if you can't afford anything else other than do anything to your car, keep the oil changed every 5,000 miles. A lot of manufacturers will tell you now, oh, you can change it every 7,500 miles. They're just trying to show you that the maintenance cost is less on that vehicle to get you to buy it. Every 5,000 miles. On my vehicles I care about, I change it every 3,000 miles. On my motorcycles, they get changed every 3,000 miles. Why? Because it's the cheapest thing you can do for that vehicle to increase the longevity of that vehicle. So an oil change every 5,000 miles, at least every 5,000 miles. If you're not putting 5,000 miles on your car, once a year, maybe twice a year, you know. So keep that in mind, you know, when you're driving around. This is what your oil looks like after 5,000 miles, you know, and this has dirt in it and it has grime and it gets what they call coking. When you heat up oil and cool it down over time, it gets little tiny particles in there. So let's talk about transmission care. Why would you service your transmission? I keep looking at my screen. I need to be looking up there. Why would you service your transmission? Well, on today's newer transmission, it's getting just as expensive to replace a transmission as it does to replace an engine. And some manufacturers now say, oh, you don't have to change the transmission fluid, but every 100,000 miles. I don't think so. They'll tell you that. But you know what? Transmission fluid looks the same way. And let me explain to you how how the fluid gets dirty. Inside a transmission, there's little clutch packs inside there. And they're little wafers, and they're kind of similar to like brake pad material, but they're thin and round, and they're spinning. And when you change gears, they come together and they pull away from each other. And when they come together, there's a little bit of spinning, a little bit of slipping that happens. All transmissions slip. You don't feel it because the reason they slip, you want that real nice shift between first, second, third. If they didn't slip, they would shift really hard, boom, and you would feel it when it goes into gear. So us as Americans, we want a nice shifting vehicle, so they're engineered that way. So there is some slipping that goes on. And when that slipping goes on, the material on those discs start to wear. And the material comes off those discs, and where do you think it goes? It goes into the fluid. So my recommendation is transmission should be serviced every 30,000 miles. Every 30,000 miles. And a transmission service isn't that expensive. In a shop, you take it in, tell them you'd like to have the transmission serviced. A lot of the trannies now don't even have a filter. They're just a drain and fill. They take a plug out, they drain the old fluid out, they put the plug back in, and they put new fluid in. So, you know, like you're talking about an hour's labor, but here's the reason behind that. And I want to emphasize this. Transmissions can cost now anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on your vehicle. The cost of transmission repairs have gone through the roof. It used to be, it wasn't that long ago that you could get a transmission rebuilt for $2,000. Those days are over. It's not uncommon now for a transmission R&R to cost $7,000, $10,000 on a vehicle. So you want spend the money, get the transmission serviced every 30,000 miles, and you'll be money ahead by spending a couple $100, each 30,000. Think about that. Over 100,000 miles, you're talking about $600 worth of maintenance on it. That's going to make the longevity of that transmission just last that much longer. And the cost is a very expensive. Let me think about some other things about the tranny. Transmission overdrives. People get in the habit of driving around with their transmission in overdrive. Overdrive transmissions are put in vehicles to increase the fuel mileage. It's for the manufacturer. It's not for the owner. And what it does is, the only time you really should have your vehicle in overdrive is if you're on flat ground. If you're driving on the freeway across Nevada on a flat surface for 500 miles, overdrive's a smart idea. If you're getting into mountainous areas where you're climbing hills, like going up the Truckee or you're going up the Grapevine, or going across the Tehachapi's, take that thing out of overdrive. It's how a lot of transmissions fail, because they don't. They're putting the tranny under a heavy load when they're pulling hills, and then it starts slipping, and that's where the transmission will start to overheat and fail. So my recommendation is, as a mechanic of 40 years, if you're pulling hills and you're in a windy, very steep area, take your vehicle out of overdrive. You don't need to have it in overdrive. Let me talk a little bit about, so transmission care is just basically, you can do transmission care on your own if you know a little bit about automotive. It's basically taking the pan off, removing the fluid that's in the pan, cleaning the pan out, cleaning up the gasket, sometimes a new gasket, and there's like 10 bolts and the pan goes back up. It's not real hard. But if you're taking it to a shop, just go in there and tell them, hey, I want my transmission serviced. Costs you a couple $100, but it's good maintenance to be doing. And then the other thing a lot of shops don't do that I recommend, if you're taking your transmission into the shop, ask them to drain the torque converter. A big part of the fluid lives inside the torque converter. And when you don't drain that fluid in the torque converter, you're only getting about half the fluid out of the tranny. So, get in the habit of saying, hey, I want my transmission service, but I want you to drain the torque converter. They just rotate the torque converter around. There's one little bolt that comes out. It's a drain bolt. They drain the torque converter, and it's a lot better on your transmission service if you drain the torque converter. Okay, so we talked about oil. We talked about trans care. Let's talk a little bit about how to take care of your paint and your paint on your vehicle. I see a lot of vehicles running around and the paint's just thrashed. It starts to get faded. The clear coat on the top starts to peel off. And what you got to get in the habit of doing is give your car a good wash and give your car a coat of wax every season before winter, but also during the summer when the sun is beating down on that. Having a car repaired for paint damage is very expensive. A bottle of wax or taking it to somebody and having it detailed once a year is you're money ahead by having that done. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how to wash your car. A lot of people don't understand about how to wash your car correctly. When you start to wash a car, especially if you have a car that has nice paint and you want to take care of it, I see people, they put soap in a bucket, they get a rag, and they start doing this. It's the first thing they do. And what you're doing, you're just taking the dirt that's on the surface of the car, and you're scratching the paint. You're putting little tiny micro scratches into the paint. So what should you do? I recommend this. This is how I wash my car, how I wash my bikes, is first thing to do is spray the car off with water. Just give it a good rinse, and then fill a bucket with soap and give it a good coating of soap and let the suds just run down. And what that does, it washes the very fine little dust and dirt off the paint before you start doing this. I want to show you a product. It's in the descriptions. If you have a steam cleaner and you don't have one of these, you need to get one. This is a company called Foam Cannon. Right now, the links are in the description for this. This thing's on sale for like 14 bucks. It has a really good heavy duty container. And what it does is you just attach this to the end of your steam cleaner on the wand. And this, you adjust this, and this thing puts out amazing foam. So like if you want to wash your car, you just hook this up to your steam cleaner. You suds it real good, and the suds will just be dripping off the vehicle. And what that does, it rinses all the dirt off before you get started. So then once you get the minor dust rinsed off, then you can rinse it with a hose. Then fill your bucket with soap and water. And I like to use 2 buckets. I use 1 bucket with a soapy rag, and I use another bucket with clean water. So, get in the habit of getting the dirt off the vehicle before you start doing this. Because you don't see it, but you're putting little tiny micro scratches in the paint. And so it's a good idea to put a coat of wax on your vehicle once a year, especially right before winter and right before summer. And I'm going to recommend, I've been waxing things for my whole life. And I'll tell you this wax and all this stuff I'm showing you, there's links in the description. This is a wax. Let me see. Here we go. This is a wax made by Meguiar. It's called M26. It's probably the best wax I've ever used. It's easy to apply. You just put it on, you wipe it on, you let it dry, and you buff it off. In the link, there's a gallon of this listed. It's like $35 for a gallon. You can get these for like $18, but 2 of these, for the price of 2 of these, you can get a gallon. My favorite wax. We missed you last night. Wilt, did you miss the live last night? I try to keep track of everybody, but I don't. I try to. Anyway, so this is a good quality wax. There's links in the description for the wax. And what this does, it's pretty easy to put on. I've used carnauba wax, a hard wax that's really hard to get off. And honestly, this does a better job than carnauba. It goes on as a cream. So you use 3 different rags. You use a rag to apply, actually 2. I use 1 rag to wash, get the paint dry. So 3 rags. A drying rag that you just dry the water off with. The second rag, you're going to apply the wax and only use that rag for the wax. And then once the wax dries, you just buff it off until you get rid of that haziness. And it doesn't take that long. You can wax a full car in about 2 hours, if you use this wax. And especially if you have a foam cannon. If you have a foam cannon, it goes a lot faster because you can wash it faster. But I recommend this wax. So once a year, at least once a year, you should be washing and waxing your car. A lot of people go to the car wash where they spray it with the car wash wand and they apply that wax at the car wash. That car wash wax is junk. And normally you're not getting the dirt off and you're just spraying wax over the dirt. So you want to get a clean surface before you go to a wax. And then, you won't have that issues where you're damaged, where your paint has become damaged. If you don't wax your car, your paint will get damaged over time from the sun. It'll start to bleach, and then the clear coat will start to peel, and then you're in a situation where it's going to cost you, $10,000 to fix the paint because you didn't take care of it. So I'm going to talk about a couple products. One of the so I have this. I have the foam cannon. And I like to use Chemical Guy makes microcloths. That's another thing. Don't just use whatever you got laying around to wash your car with, an old dirty shirt or a coarse towel. Get some good microcloths and use them just for washing your car. Chemical Guy make these yellow ones. You can get 24 of them for like under 30 bucks. So they're just over $2 a piece. And when you're done with them, you can actually wash them and reuse them. You can throw them in a washing machine and wash them if they're not full of wax. I don't reuse the wax ones, but the ones that you're drying with and the ones you're buffing with, you can usually reuse those. So there's a link for Chemical Guy microcloths, the foam cannon, and the wax in the description. We get a small commission on these things, and we appreciate when people support our channel. So please like and share the live. Saturdays mornings, we're just doing this real quick little, 30 minutes to an hour type of a podcast style, information. So somebody that knows nothing about a car, you don't know anything, this is the podcast for you. We're just going over basic car care, why you change the oil like we did today, why you change the oil, how to properly wash your vehicle. And this is coming to you from a guy that's been doing this for 40 years. I've been a mechanic for 40 years. Mini truck. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, if I lost that foam cannon today, I would have one coming tomorrow. They're on special right now. They're usually like around 20 bucks. They're like 14 bucks. And you get like 4 or 5 fittings for your steam cleaner. The little fittings that goes on the end of the wand? I've lost a couple of them over the time. And they send you a full set of those in a little bag. So you get the wand with the different style nozzles, and you get the foam cannon. Let me show you how the foam cannon works. That's what I like about this. It's got a full brass fitting on the top. It's good quality. And this piece on the end adjusts how much foam you want. You can go real heavy with the foam, or you can turn it and it'll give you less foam. And then this just opens. And I usually use either Meguiar's car wash, or Dawn dish soap. I think Dawn is probably just as good as any kind of car wash you can use. It's pretty mild. I've used it on my bikes for years, but I use this on my motorhome. I'll tell you what, once you get one of these, you won't live without it again. Because, man, I use it on the house. I use it on my motorhome and all my bikes in the car. So anyway, for 14 bucks, and the container, it's super heavy duty. It's not light duty. You can't crack this thing. You can barely squeeze it. So it's good quality. I'm a little surprised they sell these for $14, to be honest with you. So links in the description on the foam cannon. Links in the description on, if you're not set on a certain type of wax, try this Meguiar 26. I've used all different types of wax over the years, and I started using these on my motorcycles, and it's probably the best wax I've ever used. It's cream. It goes on as a cream. You just wipe it on, let it dry, buff it off. It's easy to apply, easy to take off, and it does a really, really good job. It really does. So that's what we have left in the description. We loaded. Oh, here's something if you guys want to help me out. We loaded in the description Amazon Music. So you can apply for an Amazon Music free trial, and you don't have to buy it. It gives you like a couple months of Amazon Music for free, and we get a little kicker from that. And then if you purchase, we get a little kicker from it. So anyways, if you're looking for a gift to give somebody for Christmas, the Amazon Unlimited Music Package is a great deal if you listen to a lot of music, and it helps support our channel. There's a link in the description for the Amazon Music. It's called Amazon Unlimited. And then what was the last thing that I loaded today? Okay, I'm gonna show you guys, you guys mind me showing you this stuff? I know I've come here to teach you guys stuff, but I also, at the end, I try to like just promote some products because we make a little commission on this stuff, and that's how we, it helps support the channel, and it allows us to buy newer gear and that kind of stuff. But anyway, I bought this hitch for myself. And I loaded it. There's a link in the description. It's a adjustable hitch. The one I loaded in the description has a tri-ball on it, so it has all 3 balls. But let me go through the features that this thing has on it. This is my personal one that I bought for myself because I tow a lot of stuff. I have a equipment trailer, pretty good size equipment trailer, and I go pick up cars that don't run, and I have a 12,000 pound winch on it. So I bought this because if you're like me, you're one of those guys, you're not sure what size balls on the trailer you're going to get, and then when you need it, you can't find the ball. Where's the ball at? Then you got to move this ball off and that ball on, and you're constantly wasting time. So I want to show you this hitch. It's under $100. It's adjustable. I'll walk you through these features from top to bottom. Can you guys see that pretty good? I'll stand up. So at the top, it has a, let me see if I can, let's see if I can go out some. Yeah, it's probably better like that. Let me, that's not too bad. So at the top, what it has a removable for a tow strap. Take this off, you can hook this to a tow strap, and then it goes back on. Real easy install. What I liked about the tow strap feature is it rotates, it swivels. So what's nice about that, you don't twist up your tow strap, or you could use a chain here, you don't get a twisted chain. So here's the features. Now the only difference between this and the one I got listed in the description is the one in the description has 3 balls on it, not 2. This one has a 2 5/16 and a 2-inch. And what's nice is these pins, they lock. So you have to open them with a key. It has a key to get the pin off so nobody can steal your receiver. And they're not bad, under $100. And here's the deal. The nice thing about an adjustable hitch, I don't know if you guys understand how adjustable hitch works. When you're towing a trailer, you want it to be level. Let me set this down for just a second. When you're towing a vehicle, you want it to be level. You don't want the trailer being like this or like this. You want it level. And that's what that adjustable hitch does. If you have a trailer that's sitting like this, right, you can adjust the ball to bring the front down. If you have a trailer that's sitting like this, you can adjust the ball to bring the trailer up to make it level. And that's what this does for you. Here's the nice thing about the balls. They're welded on. Nobody can steal this ball. Just walk up and take a wrench and steal your ball. It has locking pins on it, so nobody can steal the whole hitch. The hitch where it goes into the truck, into the receiver, it has a locking pin, so nobody can steal that. It's well built. It's heavy duty. The 2 5/16 is rated at 10,000 pounds. The 2-inch is rated at 7,500 pounds. And what's nice is if you want to use a different ball, let me show you how these locks work. If you want to use a different ball, you just pull this pin like that. You take this lock. I hope you guys can see that part. This thing's kind of in the way. Let's go like that. That's better, huh? Why didn't I do that a minute ago? You turn this, and when you turn it, the lock mechanism pops out. See that? Let's see if you guys can see that a little bit better. See how this pops out? And then when you put it back on, you just push that and it locks. So anyway, if you wanted to change to a different size ball, you just pull those 2 pins out, you flip it around, you put the pin back in, put the other pin back in. It takes like 10 seconds to change the size ball. And you always know where your ball, where all your material is. It's all in one piece. And then these, when they go on, you just stick them on there. We got to turn the right way. You stick them on there and just push that button and you're done. They're locked. It's locked. Anyhow, this is a good quality unit. If you're looking for a hitch, you're looking for a Christmas present for somebody that does a lot of four-wheeling. Yeah. Mini truck, yeah. The tri-ball one that we have listed, it has the 1 7/8. So you get the 1 7/8, the 2 inch, and the 2 5/16. This one just has the two balls and the tow rope on it. I didn't see a need for an 1 7/8. I should have bought the tri-ball one, but I don't know what I was thinking. I just got this one. It was a little bit cheaper. If I was going to do it over, I'd get the tri-ball for sure. But they're under $100. They're good quality. Let me show you a little bit. Because I've done some fabrication, and it has a nice gusset. Nice gusset here, fully welded, and then it has 2 gussets on the other side, triangular gussets here and there. So it's a pretty heavy duty trailer ball setup. So if you're looking for something for Christmas for yourself, I would love to get this under the Christmas tree. I bought this. This is my personal one that I'm going to use on my trailer that I tow stuff with. So I bought this, for myself. And when I bring you guys products to the lives, they're products I believe in. They're products that I would use. So if you have any interest in this, the links are in the description. They're under $100. But I was adding this up. And if you look at what these locking pins cost and what the balls cost, you can get this thing shipped if you have Amazon Prime for under $100. You can't even build this thing for $100. And it's pretty good. It's good quality. I know it's made in China. Just what isn't made in China anymore? I wish I had a way to bring you some USA made products, but it's tough anymore. We won't go into that, and it becomes a political nightmare. But anyway, I really like the features of it. I'm glad I bought it. I'm going to use this on my F-250 to tow my boats and to tow my equipment trailer. So anyway, if you're looking for a good Christmas present to buy somebody that's a gearhead that spends a lot of time towing trailers and that kind of stuff, go check this out. Shinako. What do you mean by that, Shinako? I'm not sure what that means. China, yeah. Which side is the top and which side is the bottom? So if you look at it like this, so this is let me hold it up like this. So when you're looking at it like this, where the red thing is, this is the part that would go out to the trailer. So this is the top, and so the way it's designed, see how the other ball's here? If you needed to use this ball instead of this ball, you pull the pins out and just flip it over. So this is the top. This is the top because, well, actually, it depends. I think you could run it either way, because if you wanted to run it as a drop hitch, you could actually run it like that. If you needed to get it as low as possible, I think you could do it either way, but I'm going to run mine like this. And then, but you could run it down. I think you could run it either way because it's so well gusseted. You could run it either way. It's just really well. So if you wanted to get the ball really low, you could run it this way. And because you can get the ball lower with it in this direction. Because if it's pushed, if you have it this way, you couldn't get it as low. To me, if I was going to store it on the trailer, I would store it this way so you're not whacking your leg on it as much. But anyway, for under $100 shipped through Amazon, it's a pretty good deal. Okay, Will, you're trying to be funny, aren't you? Okay, buddy, I got your number. You could mount it sideways if you want. You want to drill a hole, you know? You'd be the weird guy that runs around with his hitch on sideways. China kind of just a nickname for those lovely China auto parts we get stuck with nowadays. You ain't kidding, man. I'm so sick of buying junk. But you know, I understand why that has happened, because I did some manufacturing years back. I was really into reptiles, and I created a really good quality cage that had some features on it that a lot of the other companies wasn't doing. And the problem is, you can't build them for what they can build them for, so you can't compete with the market. You know, when you're paying people $3 an hour, you know, I don't want to be a political guy, but anyway, that's what happens. Is it's hard to compete in a global economy when people can order from Amazon and have it sitting on the porch tomorrow for $50 cheaper. But hopefully people over time will start to realize it's worth paying the extra money to get something that's going to last for 30 years instead of 5. This is a good example. I did a little live last night and I was telling people about these channel locks. These things are still made in the United States. I bought these. I've had these for almost 40 years now, and they still work, and they're still a good quality tool, and they still make them here in the U.S. One of the very few companies that still build products in the United States is Channel Lock. I've been trying to get Channel Lock to sponsor us because I really believe in their product. You know, if Channel Lock, if you're listening, hit me up, man. I would love to sponsor your product just because it's a good product. Yep, Meadville, Pennsylvania, you're right. That's where they're made. And they're still made there. You know, they've been building these things for 100 years. And they're still a good bargain. You can still buy this set right here for under $50. And they're a good, they're well made. It just says something about American made products. Your uncle lived close to there? Yeah. You know, and I promote a lot of times, you know, I promote tools on here, but when I do, I buy them and then I look them over. I don't just buy something and go, hey, buy this because I can make $1 on it. I don't do that. It has no men at all. I don't do politics here. That's one thing I don't do. It never works out. People get all butthurt. Anyway, what I promote to people a lot is go find used tools and buy the American-made tools and buy them used. I'd rather buy this used at a yard sale for $5 than go buy something made in China, or it doesn't have to be made in China, just be that's made overseas and shipped here for 3 times the money and half the quality. I like the original Peterson vice grips. Yeah, I have some of those. Actually, yeah, I did a video on that about how a lot of the vice grips say the original, but when you look on them, they're made by who is it that took that over? It's not Peterson. If it doesn't say Peterson on it, it's not original. Yep, Bonnie wrenches, exactly. That's what I do. I go to these yard sales. Every time I see a yard sale that has tools, I go dig through their stuff. Because I'll show you right here. And this ain't a tool for wrenching, but I seen it and I was like, man, those things are, let me cut my cord in half here. I need a bigger table. I picked these up at a thrift store yesterday for $3. and you feel them. They're like razors, man. You know, these things were probably made, I don't know, probably in the 40s or 50s, and they're still razor sharp. You know, you'd pay probably $50 for a set of these, you know, at Home Depot, and they're junk. And I only bought them because they're old. I like old tools, you know, so I picked these up for that. I couldn't find a name on these, but I'm sure, you know, they're pinned, you know, they're riveted here. So I'm guessing 40s or 50s. And the handles are oak. So I'm going to clean up these handles and clean them up. I like to restore old tools. It's kind of fun. And they're good quality, you know. Like I got a punch that I bought at a yard sale 25 years ago. And you can take that thing, and you know the big rivets that they hold the frames together with? You'll see frame rivets, you know, where they have like sometimes the control arms and stuff or the mounts are riveted to the frame with. I've seen guys like drill on those for a half an hour trying to get them out. I can take that chisel, and man, I can hit that thing like 2 or 3 times and knock the head right off of it with that chisel. Because it was a good quality steel that was made in the 20s, you know? So good tools are, if it says made in the USA on it at a yard sale, buy it. Because it's the best tool you'll ever own. I got tools in my toolbox that I've had for 40 years that are used tools. Old Craftsman, people poo-poo Craftsman, but you know what? In my opinion, the old Craftsman wrenches are better than Will, man, you're not going to let off on that trimming thing, are you? I probably could trim with those. What do you think? I don't know. But yeah, I every time I see a sale, I go check it out because like the old Craftsman stuff, in my opinion, are better than anything you can buy now. Yeah, you're right. Mini Trucking, Medic, Williams. I just bought a couple small little Williams brand tools. Really good quality small wrenches, really thick walled, but they're Williams. Yeah. So there's some good quality tools out there you get them for nothing. Like I bought a Snap-on. I got to get it to Maggot. He's in Australia. It costs a lot of money to ship to Australia. But I bought a Blue Point, which is a Snap-on wrench, at a yard sale here recently for like $5. So, and now Snap-on is like, you're buying Chinese tools, man. They say Snap-on on them, but about 75% of their stuff is made overseas now. Yeah, the early SK. I'll tell you a funny story about SK. Not a funny story, but a story. When I first started wrenching, I was working in a shop and I was trying to, hey, Doc Mojo, how you doing, brother? Yeah, we just did a little thing this morning about, I'm trying to do Saturday mornings like a basic care kind of a podcast for people that don't really know anything about cars. So we did a little oil change thing, talked about paint care, shared some products. Take a good look at the description. We've got some good products. I just bought a receiver for my truck, or a hitch for my truck. That's a pretty good deal. $100. It's adjustable. Anyway, yeah, the tools nowadays, you know, I fully believe in the SK thing. So I was working in a shop, and I just started working in a shop after I got out of the automotive program, and I didn't have a lot of tools. So I was trying to put some tools together. Man, I was broke. I didn't have a lot of money. So Couriers, which is Rayleighs now, they were changing over to Rayleighs, and I went in there and they had SKs for half price. So man, I bought everything I could afford to buy in SK. I still have that stuff. One of my favorite ratchets is an SK, and it just has a plunger that goes from one side to the other to reverse the rotation. I've had those ratchets for 40 years now. and they're made by SK. And one thing I always liked about SK, they put like a knurling handle on the ends of the handles. So when you got grease on your hands, you can still hang on to them. When you get a slick handle like Snap-on uses, if you get oil on your hands, they're hard to hang on to. Where those knurled handles, like Craftsman didn't do knurling, but the knurling on the end of the handle is nice on a ratchet. It helps you, especially if you got like, you know, if you're into some differential oil or you got oil on your hands or brake fluid or something, it allows you to hang on to that ratchet a little better. They were getting quite a little, I want to give you guys all a shout out. I'm putting a list together of all the people that come here, you know, every week to see the lives. And I just want you guys to know I appreciate you doing that, you know. And we're going to, somehow I want to figure out how to give badges to people. So when you guys come on here, everybody can see that you guys are the Go Big crew. So I don't know how to do that. I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, but I've been doing a couple different platforms. So we've been trying to sell product because Christmas is coming. So I've been doing a little bit of that. And then, but Saturdays so the schedule now is Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesdays, we're going to do Tinkering Tuesday. That's where we show our projects off and we just kind of shoot the bull a bit. Yeah, that's the thing. I try to come up with a good time for the lives. And I thought 6 was a decent time. So if I can get on here at 6, because I don't get off till 4 on Fridays. So if I don't get, or actually now I'm not going to be working Fridays, so I'll be off on Fridays. But I was thinking, you know, at 6, that puts the East Coast at 9 o'clock, which is starting to get there. You've been trying to catch a Tuesday? Yeah, so 6, and I'm trying to hold really good to the schedule, you know, so we can get everybody in there. I forget who told me. Who was the one that told me? I should know, you guys. I should know all this stuff. I need to make notes. Somebody just bought a set of those lights from us and they mounted it on their tractor. He just sent me an email and he's going to send me pictures of those Yigo lights and how he mounted them on his tractor. And he said I could use the pictures and the video on the live. So we'll do that. We'll get that where you guys can see. Okay, Motorin, it was you. I'm sorry. I've been like putting in crazy hours lately with working and doing this, and I try to remember everybody. Yeah. So Motorin put a set on his on a tractor, right? And he's gonna send me some pictures so we can share them on the live. I'll share that Tuesday night, Motorin. I'll share that. If you get me a picture, I'll put it on the live and people can see. What'd you think about them? I was really impressed with them. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was really impressed with them. Matter of fact, I need to do a live and show me working on the mini bike project and wiring up a set of those lights with a relay on the mini bike. Not that you need a relay because they're LED. That's the thing. That's a nice thing about those lights. You don't have to run a relay. They don't hardly draw any current at all because they're LED. You can just run them straight to a switch. I'd fuse them, but I wouldn't run a relay on them. Yeah, Doc, the Icon. I've heard that one before, Fred Durst. The Icon brand is pretty decent. I've noticed the prices are kind of going up though. I was trying to buy one of those I was trying to get one of those mini ratchet sets from Icon to give away at the live, but they got bought up really fast, and then they're a little expensive. Only mounted one since very little room to mount, but they are crazy good quality and bright. Yeah, I was impressed with the quality, and they've come down now in price. They come down in price. I'll get to you in just a second, mini truck. They've come down on price. They're like they're $9. They're $9 a unit now. You can get a 4-pack for $36. Yeah, they were $11 a unit. Now they're $9. I mean, for the quality, it's crazy. They're going to go up in price. They're just trying to get their product out. Absolutely. What's your question you got, mini truck? Because that's kind of what we're going to start doing. We're going to open up Tuesday night to question and answers. I'd like to be able to do that. And we got a pretty good crew. What do you got for a question? We got about 5 or 6 guys that are got 35 years in the trade here. So we can usually walk most people through something. We're down for a technical question. I've got my coffee in me so I can think straight. We'll wait on him for his question and see what he's up to. What you guys been thinking about these basic Saturday podcasts? I've been thinking about shooting just a regular podcast and load it. T5 S10 5-spline 1-inch shaft out of S10. Man, my eye is toast today. T5. What's the question about the shaft? What's your question? What's your question? So we're talking about a T5 transmission out of an S10 14 spline 1-inch shaft. Doc says, so the Saturdays, you think it's worth doing? Like people are going to learn something, huh? Please help us support this content. Yeah, last night, one of the things I was a little surprised of last night, let me see if I can look it up, that I was kind of interesting, was I looked up about fuel. And they were talking about, I don't know if it's still on here now, because I looked up a bunch of junk since then. I've been doing a lot of research on the channel. Here it is right here. I was curious about, hey, Doc, thanks for doing that, man. That's awesome. You guys realize this guy? We got to give him a big shout out, man. Doc Mojo 187. This guy opens his wallet every time he comes to these lives, and man, I appreciate it. Yep, that's where it's going to go, brother. That's what I do with it. Any of the stuff that we get on the people that gives us super thanks, we use that money to buy decent tools for the lives to give away. Because of that, I might be able to give away another one of those chargers. Yeah, you're awesome, dude. We appreciate you. We appreciate you doing that for the group, because it helps the group. It really does. It helps everybody because we're able to do that. I'm going to show you so I did a little research about gasoline, and it says gasoline was created in 1859 as a byproduct of kerosene after Edwin Drake drilled the first successful oil well in Pennsylvania. It was actually was created by accident. Back then, gasoline was considered waste and it was dumped into the rivers. And it says in 1880s, when internal combustion engines started, is when gasoline was when gasoline was created. So in the 1860s, this was the interesting thing I thought. In 1860, gasoline began being sold in small amounts to the public, mostly as a solvent or a cleaning fluid. And when they first came out, you could buy gas at the hardware stores in like a little can. And it was more like for like a cleaning solvent. I've used gas a lot of times for cleaning stuff. It's kind of dangerous, but we used to do it. So 1913 was the first widely available first real gas station. The first real gas station was opened in 1913. I thought that was kind of interesting because we've been talking a lot about these cars, you know, when things first got started. And I started thinking, well, where did people get gas back then? You know, how was it available? Was it hard to get? You know? And so we did some of the land speed record stuff last night. It was pretty amazing how early we set like the 100 mile per hour, first 100 mile per hour vehicle, first 200 and the first 300. The first 300 was pretty early, man. It was like, I forget now. My brain doesn't work very good until I have about 3 cups of coffee in me. But anyway, yeah, the historical stuff on the tools and the automotive stuff is kind of interesting. A lot of neat stuff. The first ratcheting ratchet was invented like in 1890s or something. Like the first wrenches were invented for steam engines. So that's where our first, open end wrenches came from, was a steam engine market, which was kind of cool. Well, guys, we're coming up on an hour. I promised myself I was going to limit these lives on Saturday mornings to about an hour. And I'll be back here on Tuesdays. So you guys think about your projects that you want to share for Tuesday night. I'm going to try to come up with something cool for Tuesday night. I'm thinking what I might do is go ahead and tear down that little 112 motor while we're doing the live. But I'm hoping I can keep in contact with what you guys are saying while I'm working on it. I might have my girl come in here and monitor the questions. Oh, really? That's interesting. I'll have to look that up. They realized that the river wouldn't freeze. Huh. That's funny how I was told one time that the microwave oven was created by accident by a guy that walked into a laboratory with a chocolate candy bar in his pocket, and they were doing some kind of radio wave stuff, and it melted the candy bar in his pocket, and that's how they realized what was going on. Yeah, so I think I'll have my girl come in here and like monitor the comments, so she can tell me what the questions are as I'm working. But I'm going to tear down that little that Predator 112 motor, and I'm going to put the tank and stuff all back on it so we can show people, hey, this is how you take one of these apart. They're not that hard to take apart. You take off the fuel tank, you take off the side cover, and you can have one of those little motors apart in like 15, 20 minutes. So anyway, And I'm planning on when I can afford to. I have lots of plans, a little bit of money. When I can afford to, I'm gonna buy a like $130 upgrade kit for that 112 and show everybody how you can take a stock 112 and bring it up to like a stage 2 or a stage 3. I got a guy that's supposed to be bringing me a mini bike or a go-kart frame. And if he does, I'm thinking about doing dual motor go-kart with 2 of those Predator 112s side by side, and then put them close enough together that I can put a chain them together. Give me some $110 million as a gift. Yeah, I wish. But we're gonna we'll do that. I'm gonna try to get that all squared away on Tuesday. The problem is the vertical live, it really limits how much you can see on the camera, you know. So I try to get everybody a good view. But I'm gonna practice with the dual camera thing while I'm offline. I'm just gonna do a video and make it private so I can understand how the dual camera thing goes. Because you can do both now. With StreamYard, you can do vertical and it sends it out to the vertical feed, and then you can have a second camera that's more of a wide angle. So we'll try that on Tuesday night. I'm gonna try to figure that all out, and we'll get that going on. All right, guys, I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you would, go check out the links in the descriptions. The wax that I showed you guys is amazing. I'll check my email as soon as I get off. As soon as I get off of here, I'll go check that. And if you're looking for a hitch, that hitch that we loaded, hey, County Bro 2, Country Boy 2, Country Bro 2. Hey, thanks for being at the live today. If you haven't subscribed, drop your subscriptions. We appreciate that 100%. Please share and like the lives. It helps us. And then we'll see you guys on Tuesday, and hopefully I'll have something cool to watch on Tuesday. Seems like when we do the lives and we have something going on, that last time when I did the relay thing, we got a lot of views. I'm going to drop this little video. Some of you have already seen this, but I'll drop this as I'm leaving the live. You guys have a good Saturday. And as I always say, man, go big or go home, baby. Have an unfused circuit. This is what happens when you have an unfused circuit or you wire the relay incorrectly. Just imagine that was underneath your dash. This is what happens when you have an unfused circuit. This is what happens when you have an unfused circuit or you wire the relay incorrectly. Just imagine that was underneath your dash.